So, hey, Storm Freaks, it's Phil. I'll tell you what, tornadoes, you know this, they can do some really wacky things. And we're going to be talking about it with researcher and storm chaser Cameron Nixon. We're also going to be playing some artificial intelligence and bringing some new weather fools. It's all on Stormfront Freaks Live!
Going green.
Greenwich.
Saddle up.
You got it, boss.
Hey, so welcome to the most entertaining weather show. This is the award-winning Stormfront Freaks. We are live, and we're brought to you by the AMS Weather Band. I'll tell you what, join the AMS Weather Band. It's American Meteorological Society's really connection to thousands of weather enthusiasts. They actually just got done, I know, with their conference, which looked amazing. I was following it on social media. But you can connect with all these enthusiasts and professionals for just $12 a year, and while you're at it, take part in their Jamposium. So this is what's coming up, and it's kind of exciting. We've got February 29th and March 1st. They're discussing topics like citizen science, and we all know the April solar eclipse that's coming up. You can get started at amsweatherband.org. We also want to thank all of our Patreon members. They're all scrolling along the bottom of our screen right now. We love you all. You can also help us support the show. We've got new EF5 member Jody Harris. So welcome Jody to the group. You can join our team as well. You get access to exclusive Facebook group. We've got over 50 of our past guests there. Cameron hopefully will be joining us here after the show as well. We've got a number of tiers, including some with exclusive merchandise. And you can help support our show and join the team for as little as $5 a month. So find out more details.
Is that my mom? Is that the same Jody Harris? Did she say that?
I shouldn't say, but
maybe it's just a coincidence. I don't know.
She liked you enough to join the Patreon group.
Finally, after 7 years?
Really? What's taking her so long? Just go to stormfrontfreaks.com and you can join the team as well. Hey, I also want to say, so this is the weekend for the National Storm Chaser Summit. So anybody that happens to be tuning in there at the summit, let us know, jump on the chat, say hi, but hope you all have a great weekend. I'm going to introduce the co-hosts that are with us tonight. It's always happy hour every time we record the show. I kind of forgot to tell Cameron. I forgot to tell you it was happy hour. Hope you brought something. But anyway, it gives us a chance to introduce our co-hosts, put a voice to that name, and also let you know we like to have fun. We got a really smart dude on tonight, and but we're going to try and keep it like even keel so everybody can figure out what he's talking about. We've got Mark Maz Massaro, our former on-camera meteorologist. Maz, what are you drinking tonight?
So it says Powerade Zero grape, and it is. But if you drink some of it and then you add Bacardi, it's a whole new level of fun. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
hydrated. I'm good.
That's good stuff. We have Gatorade and vodka on our fishing trip every year. It's really smart. That's like smart drinking. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Stay hydrated.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, Brady Harris.
Upgraded? Anyway, yeah.
Brady Harris, our atmospheric science graduate. Brady, I love your background, but what are you drinking?
You know, I'm drinking a little red wine, and let's hope this background holds, because so far I've been lagging uncontrollably with this new green screen behind me. So let's see if it holds.
Hey, move off to your left or right just a little bit so we can see who's really center stage there.
Yep. So that is that was the mothership supercell that we intercepted out when we went the storm chasing trip last year, and that was
I think that was at Tucumcari, New Mexico is where that was.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, check
same thing, right?
Hey, check your microphone. I don't think your microphone is set up right. But all right, Greg Johnson, our storm chaser photographer. Greg, what do you got?
Phil, I'm so disappointed. I'm on the road. I don't have my mic. I'm drinking like a Coke Zero. It's not a typical Stormfront Freaks, but I couldn't miss it. I couldn't take off tonight because I'm just so damn excited to talk to our guest tonight.
As we all are. So I know we got MJ's running the show in the back. It's good to have him back. And we have Angela and Garrett with us. I see Angela's cat is back in the green room with her as well. But let's do this, Mads. We're all excited about Cameron tonight. Let's bring him on.
Me too. Hey, Cameron Nixon is a research scientist, a storm chaser, photographer. I've even heard genius rolled around in the room and stuff. So just letting you know. Following his experience on the April 9th, 2015, he discovered his purpose to better understand these storms. Now, he recently graduated with a PhD, told you he was smart, in Earth and Ecosystem Science from Central Michigan University in 2023. Cameron has, in a relatively short time, risen in the community as a wizard in reading and educating on photographs and studying deviant tornadoes. Now, Cameron, I thought all tornadoes were deviant, but you must have a different definition.
Yeah, good question. And I appreciate you did some digging there with that Rochelle day. I do. Yeah, no, that's an important day for me because I think that was like my origin story. And as I just found out, Brady and I went to the same undergrad, and I initially wanted to be on broadcast, and that day changed my life. So I'm glad you brought that up. Good question about those tornadoes though, and I think like you hear just like colloquialisms that I don't know which way this tornado is going to move, and like tornadoes move in really weird ways. And interestingly, there's a few kind of steady things that govern tornado motion. And up till now, we've kind of just assumed that like their parent storms, right, the supercell, is what's governing their motion. Once the supercell produces a tornado, that tornado is just going to move with that supercell, and that's how like the National Weather Service draws their warning polygons.
Correct.
Yeah. So like what happens then though is you get a day, like I'll pick on last year with that Cole Etowah day, Central Oklahoma. Then of course you have more like notorious days like Greensburg back in 07 or 05. You have El Reno, obviously, you're really, really highly deviant tornadoes. And like what I was trying to figure out was that like it seemed to me, I was pouring through all this data. I was looking at days like the Greensburg day, and it seemed to me that these tornadoes, their paths were very like continuous and repeatable. And like not one tornado did this, but all tornadoes did this. And they kept going in the same direction, almost like they were kind of like pulled like a magnet, like up north. Like, why are they all going north? Like, what's the thing scooting them all north? And so that's when I really first started getting into photographs, was through trying to figure out like what was that direction on the photograph that was pointed north. And well, I figured out in the end that it was the storm relative wind from that photograph. So it's that wind in the low levels of the atmosphere, that low level jet, that kind of scoots these tornadoes out from underneath the supercell. Once the supercell's done with them, they kind of just drop them, and then they're left to just like flow with the low level wind. And it sounds really easy, right? Like the tornadoes move with the wind, but like it really wasn't something that had been investigated.
Cameron, in 2016, the Dodge City Day.
Yes.
Were you around on that day? Like, were you chasing in the area?
I was chasing in Colorado that day, and I had a great
good
time.
for you! Congratulations, congratulations. So, as an example, where the first three tornadoes that day were all going literally straight north.
Yeah.
And I think most storm chasers position themselves east of those storms, thinking, hey, the storm's moving northeast, the tornado is going to move towards us. And the first three tornadoes literally went north and then actually curled northwest.
Yeah.
And away from the chasers. It was, and is that what you are talking about when you're talking about deviant storm motion? Like, or can we even consider that deviant motion if it's happening all the time?
That's a really good question. Yeah, no, so there's a lot of different ways that tornadoes can deviate. And like one thing that I really didn't get into is like a rightward deviation, kind of like the El Reno day where your tornado starts pulling like due south. Yeah. So that's completely out of the cards. But what I looked at were all days that had kind of a leftward deviation. So I think that day was in my data set. It had to have been. Yeah, because like, and once you, basically what we did is we compared the paths of these tornadoes with the paths of their parent supercells, and like we noticed that some of these cases, like Dodge City, these tornadoes started deviating even before you could even like as soon as they were born. So like you had no warning. Like as a chaser, as a warning forecaster, you had zero warning that these tornadoes were not going to follow that supercell motion and instead go due north.
Okay, so with your research then, when you say zero warning, do you mean zero warning based on what we believe and how we believe they should be operating? Or was there, in the information that you've gleaned from the photographs, is there information there that should have told us or could tell us when we're going to have that deviant motion?
Yes, really good question. So let's envision you're behind the warning desk, right? And there's 80 million things going on at once. Like this is just another paper on the pile of like what you have to do that day. And a supercell goes up, right? And the radar is going to have its little like object tracker on there. Hey, that supercell is moving northeast or east or something. This is what the Weather Service has. So then they're going to see that supercell motion. They're going to see it start producing a tornado. They're going to draw a warning polygon that follows that supercell's motion. I'm not sure that is or isn't what happened at Dodge City. My memory's foggy. But what we're saying now is that some of these supercells can produce tornadoes that immediately start deviating. Like sometimes a tornado will initially start following the supercell's motion and kind of fake out, and then immediately just go due north. So like you have a little bit of warning before this happens. But in the case of Dodge City, they just immediately started booking up north.
Right.
That's
So
what's really hard to anticipate.
You said some a couple of times. I mean, like, what are you talking? Like, do you have a percentage or a range of percentage of times they become deviant? Or, I mean, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, so I'm going to try to pull this statistic out of my head. You can fact check me if you look up the Deviant Tornadoes paper that I wrote, but it was something like 20 to 25% of supercells that produced deviant tornadoes produced them immediately upon formation. I can't tell you the percentage of supercells that produce deviant tornadoes versus those that don't, but I can tell you that amongst those deviators, there's a pretty large quantity that produce them without any warning.
So you've been called the genius. You've been called the wizard. You've been called lots of things. All right. So you're a smart guy. We have a full spectrum range of people that are watching and listening to us. Go ahead for the brand newer people. Tell us what a hodograph is.
Yeah, really good question. So I had studied them in school before I went on this big spiel, and I didn't really know how it was useful to me. And I think this deviant tornadoes thing was the first thing that taught me, hey, I'm a very visual person. I'm a visual learner. I don't do the mathematics. My friend's going to attest to that. And the hodograph really helped me because it was a very visual way of seeing all these processes happen. So what the hodograph is just a plot of the wind at different heights. So if you look up a picture of a hodograph right now, you'll see kind of like a loopy curved shape. And that shape is traced out as we look at winds in the different levels. So if we look at the surface, we might have a southeast wind. If we look at kind of the mid levels, we might have a south wind, etc. And it changes directions as we go up. And it might change speed as we go up too. So the fascinating part about hodographs is that it could tell you, what the winds are at every level of the atmosphere, but also B, what winds the storm is feeling at every level of the atmosphere. Because we look at the storm relative sense. Imagine it's a calm day and you're sitting still in your car, you feel no wind. And now let's say you start booking it at 60 miles per hour, you're going to feel a lot of wind, even though it's calm. There we go. That's a hodograph. And so I think this case was even a storm relative hodograph, where you have your storm motion at that dot in the middle. So that dot is you cruising at 60 miles per hour down the highway. And those arrows there, those red arrows, are what you are feeling, what winds you're feeling at each level. And that's what really matters when we're forecasting supercells and other storms.
Okay, so two-part question, Cam. So like as a storm chaser, it's the morning of the storm, let's say, or maybe it's even the day before the storm, and I'm looking at a forecast photograph. So I'm picking a point on the map to pull up that forecast.
Sure.
The first part of the question is, how far ahead of that storm and that forecast plot on the map do you feel confident in what that information that we're getting from the models? Like, at what point do you go, I can trust this, versus this is like ridiculous, this is never going to happen? You know what I mean? Because we've all seen those photographs. I mean, there's a lot of storm chasers, me included. I'm just clicking around the map till I find a PDS sounding and then going, that's where we're going, right?
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. And the thing I'll tell you is that it's all relative. Right. Everything's relative, but no pun intended. But what you have to think about is, are we dealing with, say, a high stakes, broad warm sector, synoptic, like southeast US tornado outbreak day? Or are we dealing with a really subtle mesoscale day, like in central Kansas, where you're near kind of a triple point and the winds are backed? And when we're dealing with the second one, things get a lot more complicated and sensitive to all sorts of things. Models just not figuring out where the triple point's going to be, models underdoing the low-level jet, etc. So on these big days, like before, honestly, most Southeast events, the photographs are usually pretty representative, and you can
like, how far in advance though? Even 5 days out. Okay.
Oh yeah. Like looking at some kind of GFS output, like you can gain the intuition that there's going to be really strong low-level shear and then a lot of veering above that, right? It's consistent. But a lot of times on the plains, like your photographs can be different enough that they could really affect storm behavior differently than you thought, even 12, 15 hours in advance.
Okay, so I've seen you speak about photographs before, or at least watch some videos and stuff, and you've talked in the past about how it's not just about going to the 6 p.m. sounding and picking the spot, but rather looking at what that location is doing throughout the day, so that you can be there at the right time. And it might be 5 p.m., might be 7 p.m., but it doesn't have to all day be the spot. It's about going to that spot at the right time. And so how do you, like, I mean, I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around how, like, Phil, I remember you saying last year when we were chasing, what we need to do is track down Cam Nixon, put one of those GPS trackers on his vehicle, and just follow him all freaking day, because that's a way better way to see tornadoes than to try to forecast. Tell us a little bit more about that sort of progression through the day, and then I'll get off the photograph topic.
Yeah, I will say, the year I had last year, I'm not sure you would have wanted to be by my side. But no, I had this problem in mind, right? Like, this is something that a lot of people had asked me. This is something that I had pondered, like, how useful is a photograph really? And I think what really helped with this is, I'll shamelessly plug the little photograph map that I made for COD. Pivotal actually took theirs and ran with it, and then SPC. And if you look at the photograph map and look at it consistently, right? So like, look at it at the 12Z run, the 13Z run, the 14Z run, you're going to see that over time, you're going to get a mental picture of what these photographs are supposed to look like on this day. And they're not going to change that much. Like, it's not going to be like the 12Z run is going to show you this shape and the 14 is going to show you that shape. Like, they're going to be very consistent. But you need to like make sure that you're watching the photographs over time, seeing if there are any changes. Like, as we get toward like the 15Z run as a low-level jet signal becoming a lot stronger. Those are all things that you need to think about. But I think those best show the uncertainty over a given spatial area and over time.
Okay, so one more question. I know where that was.
Yeah.
I said that was the last one. One
No,
more
it's
question. So you're looking at the map. You're pulling up a plot on the map, and you're pulling up that photograph, and you're analyzing it. Are you personally always looking for the biggest, broadest loop? Like, are you always looking for that, like, classic, almost like sickle shaped photograph, or are you sometimes going, like, picking your target based on other things other than the photograph, or is it strictly photograph chasing?
I have done all of those, Greg.
Okay.
At some
All right.
point in my life.
Wow.
It
So what
depends.
worked?
Yeah. So what's the ticket, man?
It depends. It depends on what you're chasing for. Like, really, one short and sweet answer to this is to think about what a normal photograph is for that kind of setup. So let's say you're a southeast chaser, right? You're chasing in like Mississippi or Alabama, and you see a photograph with, like 40 knots of 0 to 1 shear, like that huge hump, like you're gonna go chase it. But what happens if you see a photograph out there with, like, 10 knots of 0 to 1 shear, maybe like 50 SRH or something? You're not going to want to chase that, because that's not what the Southeast is used to dealing with. And I know this is a very simplified answer to this, but like,
Oh, really? Because you're pulling all kinds of acronyms out of your back pocket right now.
Smartest people do that, Phil. Come on, man. It's all about acronyms.
Yeah, COD is cash on delivery still, right?
Yeah.
Nope.
We'll go with that.
Oh.
I know Greg's used it before. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But
Okay, well, so you're saying if the setup in Kansas, if it's producing photographs which are uncharacteristically good, that's a good thing. Same thing in the southeast, right? If it's uncharacteristic, that's a good thing.
well, uncharacteristically good and bad.
Oh, okay.
I encourage you. There's the U.S. Tornadoes case archive. I put on there for a reason, because sometimes those days where you'll get like these crazy maxed out parameter spaces, like shear is absurd, cape is ridiculous, and like nothing happens. There's also truth to it working the other way. So if I see something that's so like out of the norm for Kansas, or out of the norm for like West Texas or anything, maybe I'll chase it, but like I would have pause that like something's wrong here. So, some part of the setup is not what we're used to dealing with here.
Hey, so Curtis up in Canada just said, so what storm relative helicity would you look for in Canada?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've chased up there much or pay much attention to what goes on to our neighbors in the north.
Oh, yeah.
No, man, like we're totally deferring to you, Doc.
The fun fact I'll give here is that at least so we didn't actually look at Canadian tornadoes, so I'll give you that, but we did look at Northern Plains tornadoes, and I do have a number of Canadian tornadoes in the case archive on U.S. tornadoes, but something that Canada really doesn't do is low level shear. Which also means it doesn't really do SRH. You're mainly looking for boundaries and other like supercell interactions and crazy stuff that might actually help you get a tornado even in a subpar environment. And a lot of that
Cameron,
yes.
Aren't they totally different in Canada anyway? I mean, Greg, you can attest to this. Aren't they even called like photographs?
Yeah. And the tornadoes are a lot nicer up there too. Like they kind of wave at you as they go by.
Really super polite, eh? They're just super polite, eh?
So Cameron, I got to know. So for those that don't know, Cameron and I, we were both in class at Valparaiso. I was there for 1 year. And our grades might have been a little bit different. You might.
I was like, "What happened, Brady?"
Yeah. He might have.
There's Cameron, and there's you. Cameron's got a PhD.
Brady still use
You
cars
can
now.
talk me up, but don't talk
No.
yourself down, Brady.
No. When I left Valpo, Cameron, I knew he was going to be a star. To be honest, I thought, with your voice and everything, I thought you were going to be a star on TV, on radio. Like, what I want to know, where was the pivot that you said, you know what, I want to go in, because TV and research are completely different things. Yeah. Where was that pivot? What caused you to go towards research, and how, have you looked back and think, man, I'd love to do anything broadcast, or is it, research is my thing now?
Yeah. Well, it was Rochelle Day. It was absolutely Rochelle Day. And, Vucet went out that day. I don't know if you're still in Valpo by then, or if you left earlier.
Yeah. Well, I was there for 2013. So we got that high risk day that we were all up on the roof. Of course, we were all up on the roof of the weather center.
That was
but that was great. Yeah.
No. And, so April 9th, 2015 rolled around, and that was the day that we decided to go, because it didn't have that absurd, scary outbreak kind of feel to it. It kind of actually looked really messy when we came up on it. But we went out anyway, and I was a chaser at heart. So there's no way I was missing that. And what happened was we were a little late to Rochelle. We left our target. We were actually sitting in Rochelle for a solid 2 hours, and then we left it to go to Iowa, which, in retrospect, odd decision, but everyone was involved in that. And we, so ultimately the Rochelle storm popped up. We left Iowa, we came back toward the Rochelle storm, and we ended up probably 6 to 8 miles behind that tornado. So it wasn't really a huge adrenaline rushing ordeal until we unknowingly just kind of stumbled into the wreckage from that EF4, directly in the heart where that Grubstakers was. I saw things that I really wish I could unsee. And that whole trip, without going into detail, was deeply traumatized by that. So really, really sobering. I had just recently shadowed a lot of broadcasters in Chicago, and I just wasn't feeling the vibe, and I'm really awkward in front of a green screen. So there's that too. But
Cameron, when I mentioned the video of the guy in the underpass at the Rochelle tornado, do you know the video I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Phil, I don't know if you remember, we had him on, we had the video on, I think one point, maybe about a year ago, but that was the calmest dude in history as he watched this massive EF4 tornado.
It's crazy.
Roll within feet. I mean, it was just insane, and I can't imagine the destruction it must have done in the city. It's
And I remember you guys posting pictures from your guys' trip, and I campaigned the Ohio State people hey, let's organize a trip like Valparaiso did, because that looked like just an unbelievable experience, and just the damage, and I can't even imagine what that was like, right? Just kind of walking up on that, but.
It's not something. I actually just had a chat with some students at another school that came upon the Rolling Fork tornado.
Oh wow.
And they were just as young, if not younger, than we were, and it's just you're not prepared, you're not ready to see that. And I think you asked was there a moment that made that hit, that change in my mentality, and it was that it smacked me across the face.
Wow.
Well, I'll tell you what, sounds like the train's coming in. So before we go to break, I do have one more question for you. It comes from one of our viewers. Dan Scoff says, we're going back to the photographs here a little bit. Have you noticed model data smoothing out the elbow or the kink in the low levels? Not quite sure which one he's referring to, but
I know what you mean.
Okay.
So there's a study out there, if you search photographs of nocturnal tornadoes, and I think that's where critical angle comes in. I think they look at observed soundings, and in a lot of observed photographs, you get this really fine kink in a photograph, it's 90 degrees, and that's something that to our knowledge, it's really just like a symptom of how the boundary layer kind of decouples and separates from the air above that. So you're dealing with like your lowest kilometer of air, and then that air above that. They have very different properties sometimes, and the hodograph can change really suddenly and kind of give that kink. I've noticed models can kind of underdo that kink, but how much it's relevant to forecasting and spotting, I can't really tell you.
Is there one model that's doing that more often than others that you notice, or is it kind of across the board?
There's biases. I know RAP and HER can underdo hodograph curvature a little bit. There's reasons I'm not going to go into, and the NAM likes to make bigger hodographs. It's all, like when you're forecasting seriously, like you should be comparing the HER and the NAM and the RAP and trying to come up with some in between that you think might happen.
Cool.
Phil, he's not going into it because he doesn't think we're smart enough. That's what it is. I know what he's saying.
I'm smart enough.
I made that comment about acronyms because I know there's people out there that want to know the acronyms, and we just sometimes we get used to it and we throw that stuff out there. And so now he probably thinks I'm stupid, which isn't too far from the truth. But on that note, we are going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk about something that sounds really smart called Fujiwara. Stay tuned.
Don't miss Vintage Stormfront Freaks.
This one here, we do have a few dents in the new Suburban, but my truck, that hood's a trophy.
You might as well put 2 GoPros on there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what it looks like.
So I'm like, I'm going to drive this thing into a tornado, and then they all start laughing.
Good. You'll be the only sober one by the end of the night.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
All right, so we are back, Stormfront Freaks Live. We got Cameron Nixon in the house for the first time. It's sad it's taken us 202 episodes, Cameron, to get you on, but we're so glad to have you on the show. So I kind of teased going into break about Fujiwara, and I'll be honest, I was talking with Greg before the show a little bit about that, and really the first time, and again, I'm the stupid one, so that makes sense, but the first time I had heard of this was this past, I believe it was this past spring.
Yeah.
And you were the one tweeting about it and you were geeking out about it at the same time everybody else on Twitter was geeking out about it. But this was the first time I'd really seen anything like this. The radar was amazing. But can you share first off just a little bit what is the Fujiwara effect? What's going on with these storms when this is happening and the tornadoes?
Yes. So a lot of what I've been dedicating myself to behind the scenes for the past couple years now. I haven't been ready to share a lot of this stuff, but a lot of the more obvious stuff, like I really love showing people. But what we're talking about are interactions between multiple storms. So a supercell is a powerful storm, right? It has a rotating updraft. It can be really large. Produce all sorts of hazards. So what happens when there's one supercell and then you just put another one right next to it? some crazy things start happening. And what Fujiwara himself found back in the day was that 2 hurricanes in close proximity to another can start to influence each other's motions. That they might kind of start to orbit. They might even try to merge or do some crazy thing like that once they're decaying. And the issue is now we as forecasters, we as warning forecasters, and we as storm chasers are kind of laser focused on our supercell or the tornadic storm, or like the most important storm in the playing field, that we can lose sight of one developing right behind it or right next to it that might start to do some nonlinear kind of chaotic things to it. So once you have two supercells on the playing field, things are not going to go like you think they are. Things are not just going to be this easy, you're just, in the inflow watching the supercell. No, you're going to start to experience these deviations. Your supercell is going to start turning right. It's going to start producing really big hail. It's going to start producing tornadoes that might deviate and do weird things. And that's basically what we had on that day back in April, near Cole, Ottawa, Shawnee, etc. And
that's what it was. Yeah.
That's what that was. Yeah.
And the tornadoes were kind of looping around back to the west, right?
Yeah. So so in that case, this is a really specific example, but in that case, like you had this supercell that was producing the tornadoes, and then you had another supercell here that was influencing the motion of that tornado. So the tornado left this supercell and tried to get toward that one because it had the stronger pull. It was wild. If you look at velocity.
And it was really like a chain of them too, right? Like we're not talking one or two storms here. There was, I think, 4 or 5 storms in that chain on that day, wasn't there?
Initially there were, but later on you really just had 2 at different times. You had 2 instances of 2.
Right. Cameron, do you think just from, and maybe you're not ready to share this yet, but
sure,
are models able to predict that? Like, is there any model with high enough resolution that can pick that up, that can say, hey, looks like tomorrow we're going to have training supercells, and maybe not, right? But
yeah,
I don't know.
So, I mean, I guess what my general kind of rule of thought here is that the more signal you see in our convective allowing models for more convection to initiate, the more chance you have that storms are going to interact with each other. Now, on that day, good luck. I think like only the HER had like 1 supercell like forecast that day, and that's a whole nother ordeal. That's like a boundary layer problem. That's like entrainment. That's all this garbage that I'm not smart enough for. But like, when you do have, like an event, and say the HER and the NAM are like consistently printing out like 3 or 4 supercells in this one area, you can start to say, okay, things might be a little chaotic over here. Not quite sure how this is going to unfold, but
remember Phil and I were texting each other that day. We were watching that radar, and we heard, I think it might have been you, or maybe it was Reed, or somebody said something about Fujiwara, and we looked at each other and we're like, okay, is this like the new polar vortex? Like we're just going to start making up words for stuff now. So had you heard of this before? Did you have to look it up? Like, what the hell's happening with these 2 storms?
So people have kind of off and on used Fujiwara to describe supercells. In all technicality, Fujiwara was designed as a descriptor of the influence of hurricanes with each other, not supercells. Do I admit to using it as a sort of buzzword when it comes to supercell interactions? Yes, I do, because I think
that's okay.
It's a good word to describe it.
Yeah. It's sexy. What are you talking about,
it gets people's attention, Come on, you gotta have, the polar vortex. You gotta have terms like that.
Yeah, Phil, I've got a new segment for our show right after Weather Fools. We're gonna do a let's make up cool terms for stuff.
Sexy weather.
I like it.
I would lead that.
Might be another AI segment. That'd be good.
Oh, I love that.
But no, and it's a simple way to describe what's going on that also describes something else. Like it's a recognizable term if you're in academia and can like combine these 2. So I wanted to help bring it to the chasing community.
So
when you have
Fujiwara with galaxies, then too, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, hold up. 3 things at once. I heard galaxies and
Fujiwara with galaxies, right? Yeah.
I actually just went down a very deep rabbit hole into the interactions of galaxies, and they actually can do this little dance. So
wow.
I don't care about what I'm studying. I look at all scales.
Well, and if you hadn't gone into meteorology, what would you have done?
Psychology.
Oh,
Yeah.
What am I thinking, Cameron? What am I thinking right now?
That was quick.
That's ESP.
Read my mind.
That is not psychology, Brady.
All right.
No, I
Fujiwara
love
hemispheres.
studying the behavior of individual storms and people and everything in between. I think it all kind of ties together.
So no matter who's been on this show in the last couple of months, we've asked them all the same question. And since you're a smarty pants, we got an El Nino happening. We're going to get to pick 1 week this year to do a Stormfront Freaks Chaser vacation. What week of 2024 would you suggest we go out on the plains like 2-3 months in advance here? What week?
Cameron, we're going to hold you to this. We're just letting you know
are.
that we're going to hold you to this.
Let's do the climatological May 22nd through 28th. I think you might see a
week, Cam. That is like
that's close.
That
Greg, that's right when we're going. What do you mean? Come on.
Yeah, but his answer is BS though. He's just
self-fulfilling prophecy. Come on.
He's not even taking into account El Nino. He's just throwing out the most.
He's looking at the bell curve. He's just looking at the top of the bell curve.
El Nino is responsible for some of the plains' most prolific years, so I am taking that into account.
Oh, okay. All right.
See, Greg? See?
Yeah.
Come on.
See, Reed told us beginning of April, you got to go down to Dick. Beginning in April, we're going to go down to Dixie. That's what he
You're asking me something that I do not do for a living. So
hey, here's what I do want to ask you though, Cameron, is what I want to know what you're excited about moving forward. All right. You're doing a lot of study and a lot of work, a lot of research.
Sure.
Because a lot of the work you're doing and the people you work with are focused on stuff moving forward. So what are the things you've seen, whether it's even the stuff you're working on or someone else you know is working on, that really gets you excited about future, what's going forward?
Yeah, so I really, really happily accepted a job working. It's adjunct to the Storm Prediction Center. So where I'm getting paid through OU, and I'm working alongside the folks at SPC to help them create products and stuff.
Wow.
And so one of the, I'll give a spoiler for this just because this is what I've been trying to do for years, is I'm trying to help them create kind of a analog system. They have one of these already. If you look at kind of the bottom of Soundings, you might see that PDS tour. Then you might see like all these dates that come down. And what we're trying to do here, me and a couple other folks, are trying to make something that's kind of machine learning related and a little bit more precise, so that the computer can take into account like every single kink in the SQT and the hodograph, and compare that with just thousands of past events, hail, tornado, wind, etc. And you can kind of get a baseline sense for like what is the probability of tornadoes or strong tornadoes on that day. I think that's going to be really important, kind of like a more faithful analog system, because a lot of us pull up that May 3rd 99 sounding and just kind of laugh it off. I don't want something that's laughable. I want something that helps us.
So we'd almost like look for a day that matches the criteria and then say, hey, this is your closest day, this is your second closest day, here's what happened on that day, or something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If down the road I could even see like some kind of guide to tell us like what supercells might even look like on this day based on past like analogs of radar reflectivity and other things. There's so much you could do with that. So yeah, that's exactly what we're going for.
That's so cool. Yeah, that's so smart.
So are you most excited with the new job that you're going to be double dipping, getting 2 paychecks? Is that the way I understand it now?
I wish.
Yeah.
Really wish. But no, other than that though, one thing I am really excited kind of more in the short term to kind of show people is the study on storm interactions that I've been doing. And if you do look up Cameron J. Nixon on WordPress and look up storm interactions, there will be a page there that has stuff like the Fujiwara, it has stuff like cell mergers on it, etc. And basically what we're finding is that there's so much more then meets the eye to these interactions. Like we've usually been focused on, these big obvious supercell ramming into another supercell producing a tornado. Well, duh, that's going to happen. But like, yeah, it's just something that really jumps out at you. But there's a lot of things that are a lot more subtle that most of us are not even considering when it comes to things outside of a supercell that could impact that storm and maybe help it produce tornadoes in a given environment or help it produce hail instead. And so that's kind of what we want to kind of eke out, is all these really subtle things that might even help us kind of target and choose which storm out of a group of 3 you might want to go after.
Cameron, last question for you from a forecast standpoint. Yeah. It's a moderate risk day on the plains. It's mid-May. Whoa. And you're looking at maybe pivotal weather or something like that, and the photographs aren't working, the soundings aren't coming up. You don't get a chance to look at a single sounding. What parameter outside the photographs? What parameter is your go-to? 0 to 1? Great is it question. The CAPE? Is it EHI? Like, what is that one parameter that, like, when you're doing your forecasting, you go, yeah, but I can't overlook this?
I'm going to troll you with this one because I can't really think of anything off the top of my head.
We love that.
Relative humidity in the lowest 3 kilometers or so. Really? If I want to take a picture of a storm that's going to look pretty, I want it to be dry. Smart. I don't want these stupid saturated, like squeegee kind of soundings. I want something like those goalposts. I want that 10 degree, 15 degree dew point spread. I want a little bit of sin. I want anything that could help kind of carve out the storm structure. And that's kind of most important to me. Not even a wind shear parameter.
Wow. Really? That's a good answer from a photographer. That's good.
Oh, yeah. That's a great answer.
Yeah.
I'm a snob.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Cameron, that's the sound. It's time for our lightning round. So this is our game show of flashy and brilliant questions that we get to play with our guests. And we always invite those of you watching, even listening, go ahead and play along with us. But tonight, we're going to play a special game just for you. And we're going to call this one, How Low Can You Go? All right, so what this is going to be is I'm going to play you some sound clips. and these are some sound clips of either some actors or some singers that might have kind of a low voice, similar to what you're gracing us with tonight. And your goal is just to tell me who that was. It's pretty simple. Wow. All right, it's pretty simple, but I always tell the freaks they can chime in and play along as well, and maybe give you some ideas if you look.
Bill, I thought you were going to say like he has to try and go lower than that voice. Yeah. That's a bonus point. That's a bonus point.
You would have done that. Okay, so this is pretty easy. So I'm just going to play these clips, and your goal is to tell me who that was. You ready?
Well, you're gonna see my lack of pop culture.
Ooh,
it's okay.
Okay,
you got us to help you out.
Yeah,
it ain't not much better.
All right, here we go. First one.
Oh no!
I know it.
Oh, Cam.
No,
Cam. Your wallet.
All of your
your wallet.
Cam Lifeline.
All of your Texas and Oklahoma friends are really going to be mad at you for this one if you don't
get it. Lifeline.
Your wallet. What's in your wallet?
Need that again?
I need help.
Cam, I got you.
I'm from already. Canada, and I know this one, Cam.
I got you, Cam. What do you call on me? Lifeline.
All right, go ahead. What do you guys think?
Come on, Brady.
Bob Marley.
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash.
Wait.
You're kidding, right, Brady?
I'm going to be right back. I'll see you guys later.
Please. Oh, my God. You really thought it was Bob Marley? Oh, my God. All right, here's the next one. Here we go.
One constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again. But baseball has marked the time.
What do you got?
Give him a hint?
The original Darth Vader.
Yeah, that was the hint. Darth Vader, same guy.
Yeah, I could have played one like that, but yeah. Do you know?
No, not at all.
That's not fair. This guy's not in our Cameron and I's generation. So
All right.
we're not going to know him.
Maz, James Earl.
No. Oh yeah, James Earl Jones. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wow. I didn't realize these would be so hard. Holy cow. All right. They probably don't get any easier, Cameron. I'll tell you. All right, here we go. Here's the next one.
You see, this cat Shaft is a bad mother. What I'm talking about, Shaft?
Talk about Shaft.
Cameron, they never pick any answers from our generation. It's always from theirs.
I barely
got no
heard
clue.
the voice. I was going to say.
Okay, I'll play it again.
But no.
This cat Shaft is a bad mother. What I'm talking about, Shaft?
Shaft.
Talk about Shaft. He sings Shaft. Doon, doo, doo, doo.
I can see the private Shaft, but I'm not going to.
All right, what? Brady, you got to guess Bob Marley?
I have literally no clue. I'm not going to say a word. Nope.
Okay.
I'm honestly
got
just
it?
waiting for Morgan Freeman or Josh Turner to show up. So.
No, all I could think of was Barry, and I'm like,
Come on.
Who
Give us
was
like
it?
Lil Wayne or something,
Anybody?
you know?
Greg, do you
It's
know?
not Barry White.
Barry White, but I know it's not Barry White.
All right, it was Isaac Hayes. Isaac Hayes.
Okay.
Isaac.
I've never
All right.
heard that name.
Next one. He's the chef in South Park. The voice of Chef.
Oh.
You know,
okay.
like, what is he? Sweaty balls? What's that song he
Yeah.
sings about?
Yeah, he's
Something
great.
balls. All right, Cameron. This one's for you, Cameron.
What are you?
Travis.
So full of hate you just want to go out and fight everybody. Because you've been whipped and chased by hounds. Well, that might not be living, but it sure as hell ain't dying.
Okay, well, Morgan Freeman. I really hope.
Yeah.
Cameron, for bonus points, what movie was that from?
You got that one, Brady.
That's Shawshank.
Shawshank.
I actually, yeah, I think.
No.
Right?
No?
Isn't it?
What?
Civil War.
What? Oh, I thought that was from Shawshank for sure.
Yeah, he was talking
wow.
to Denzel. That was talking to Denzel on that one. All right, here we go. Next one.
I've heard people say that
Yeah.
too much of anything is not good for you, baby.
All right, what do you got,
Come
Cameron?
on, BW. Come on, BW.
Cameron, they didn't pick anyone under 40. Okay.
Barry.
People above 40, that's their only.
Barry White.
Barry White.
Barry White. You got
I
it. You
can
got
read,
it.
but I can't.
All right, here you go. Here's another one.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time. I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
That's your stinking generation, so
Listen,
don't give me
and-
that
and listen,
crap
I'm
anymore.
going to give you
Okay.
Cam. I'm going to give you a hint on this one.
This
Look
also
at
sounds
Phil.
like Morgan Freeman.
Look at Phil right now. Look at Phil.
No.
Look at
No.
Phil right now because
Oh.
he literally looks
Yes.
like his twin brother. Play the clip one more
geez.
Oh,
time.
no.
Vin
I
Diesel.
live my life.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow.
Yes, you got that one, baby.
Not gonna lie, I've always thought that.
Bald and beautiful.
All right, this spans multiple generations.
Falling in love.
Oh, that's multi-generational, Cameron.
Vin
Get
Diesel.
a lip going on this one.
Guys, come on.
Oh, that. Yeah.
Brady?
That has to be Bob Marley this time.
Oh,
Getting a little birdie.
Just
that
wait
might
till we
be
get to
Elvis.
Bob Marley, right?
all right, who's got that one? Help me, please. Anybody?
Elvis.
That was Elvis. How do you, Cameron, how do you not get Elvis? Oh, my
He's
God.
got-
Okay.
You
All
gotta
right.
Not over,
listen-
he's
you
over
gotta-
40.
Cameron's got to start listening to music while he's
All
studying.
right. Okay. Listen, we're
grades are
back.
going down.
Brady, this is your generation. You got a shot here.
Goodness.
Cameron, you got a shot.
So do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us.
Is this from The Lion King?
No, that's James Earl Jones, though. That is James Earl Jones. So, you're playing the same game.
Cameron, I'll give you a hint. He's a wizard.
in this movie, but he plays lots of different characters. But in this movie, he was a wizard. It was Lord of the Rings.
Perspective. I don't own a television, so
Wow. I wish I were you.
Hey, I'll tell you what, you're gonna go into the Jason Frazier Hall of Fame. Jason Frazier is the meteorologist from Fox Weather that might have pulled an offer in the game that we played as well. But I'll give you the buzzer on that. Who knows who that actor is? Brady?
Gandalf.
No, actor, not the character.
I don't know his name. I just know he's Gandalf.
Just say Bob Marley.
Bob Marley. Great.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's Ian McKellen. Ian McKellen. All right, I'm gonna make you suffer through two more, Cameron. You got two more. Here we go. Here we go.
Oh, my God.
Start again.
Not Eilish. Not Eilish.
Billy Idol. Billy Idol.
White wedding.
Billy Idol. There you go, baby. There you go.
Hey,
all right.
he's not going over. He's not going over.
He's not over.
He would not be in the Hall of Infamy.
All right, now if you haven't seen the movie, oh shoot, what's the movie? I can't. Wow, this is like one of the best. Oh, Tombstone. If you haven't seen the movie Tombstone, you might not get this one.
Is that with Laura Croft?
No.
I walk around this town and look these people in the eye. It's just like someone slapping me in the face. These people are afraid to walk down the street, and I'm trying to make money off that like some goddamn vulture.
His voice isn't even deep. I'm sorry.
I know. I was going to say that too.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll just do that because it's probably due. It was Sam. It was Sam Elliott.
I think Sam
really
voice. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a pretty shitty game. That was a bad idea on my part. Sorry.
No, it was a great idea, Phil. It actually was a great idea.
I'll take the blame on that one. Plus, I guess the last person I added didn't really have a deep voice, but I actually looked this up on the website, like famous deep voices or something stupid like
Sam
that.
Elliott, I have plenty of time to sleep when I'm dead.
I haven't heard of half these people.
Sam Elliott. So he was. Gosh, he was
Roadhouse?
in Blade, Roadhouse. He was in these are probably movies you were still 10 years from being born, probably.
Whippersnappers.
That was my fault. I got to relate better to the younger generation we tend to have on this show. But Cameron, do us a favor. Tell everybody where they can find you, how they can follow you, and all your great education.
Yeah, my lack of musical prowess. Look on Twitter at Cameron J. Nixon. I'll be right there. And then if you search Cameron J. Nixon on WordPress, you will find me as well. Honestly, if you search photograph, you'll probably see me come up too.
Wow,
you're coming up
That's a
now
life
with
goal.
one word. That's impressive. For a young guy that can't figure out who Elvis sounds like, I guess.
Well, think about it. To have a weather term like photograph synonymous with your name, that's pretty unreal. I mean, I don't know what weather term they pick for my name. Probably like, dumb or cat. I don't know. One of the two.
Dumb cat.
Okay. On that note, I'll tell you what. We're going to take a final break. But before we do that, don't forget you can check out helicity.co for all your Stormfront Freaks gear. So Helicity is the dream store of weather stuff for weather geeks. They got t-shirts and drink containers. You can shop our entire Stormfront Freaks catalog of logo merch and Weather Fools t-shirts. Visit helicity.co, the weather superstore for the freak in you. Tell you what, when we're coming back, we of course got our hashtag Weather Fools, and we're going to be playing some WXAI games. Stay tuned. All right. Good, great job, Cameron. That was fun, man.
That was fun, yeah.
Thank you.
Let's please make a note, though, Phil, for when we got number 300 rolling around and we're doing the synopsis of the last 100 episodes like we did last time. We have to make note of how bad he was at the
202 is gonna go down in history. Obviously, Jason Frazier has a Hall of Fame now for worst lightning round. Yeah, you're in good company. So wait, here's the funny thing. A lot of times that's like pop culture shit, and so if you're not a pop culture person, then
I mean,
then,
I at least
there's no hope.
This one, like I've been called every name on the planet with regards to my voice, and like it just goes through one ear.
It's awesome. I'm jealous. I'm jealous, dude. I wish I had. It's just
like Brady.
so cool.
Brady's jealous because he's about to hit puberty, and so he's
what do you mean, Greg?
Cameron, if you were on air, you'd be called every name in the book anyways.
Oh, I know. It at least like sink in that way.
Oh yeah.
Cameron, can you do us a quick favor? Give us a sound bite and just say, this is researcher Storm Chaser Cameron Nixon, and this is the Stormfront Freaks.
Oh, sure. This is researcher Cameron Nixon, and you're listening to the Stormfront Freaks.
Perfect. That was great.
Nice. Yeah.
That was great.
Earl Jones. That was good.
We also have a couple of our good friends that have been in the green room that are on with us tonight. So Garrett and Angela, we always like to give them a shot to ask questions that we missed. But Garrett, you got anything for Cameron?
Yeah, I was going to ask. I know you talked about the upcoming studies. Is the Mayfield, Kentucky storm going to be in there? With its long track history and that high debate of whether it was one tornado or multiple at a time, because it seemed like it was kind of highly contested for a while.
Yep, there's actually something special about that storm that I think we found that helped it to produce an extremely long-lived tornado, more so than other supercells do in that kind of environment. So yeah, that's absolutely going to be in there.
Awesome. Can you give us a hint?
Not yet. We'll get there.
Well,
you'll have to invite me on next time.
Oh, we will.
Angela, what do you got? You got anything for Cameron?
I have two.
Okay.
My first one is, as climatology changes, do you think deviant tornado motion is going to increase or decrease? Is there historical increase and we're just seeing more of it because there's more eyes out there?
Good question. I don't think there's any sort of like climatological increase or decrease in deviant tornadoes, but God, like with these days, like Lockett last year, where one tour group got rolled by that tornado. I think we have more chasers doing, more reckless things, putting them in the paths of these things. And yeah, I think we're going to hear about it more often.
Okay, the second question is, how have you adapted to your Hodo Daddy persona? I saw that one of the weather stores has merch with your face on it and stuff.
Yeah. That was Helicity. That was Helicity.
It is Helicity? Okay. Are you embracing
Hodo Daddy?
That is awesome.
That was a thing. My mom actually bought one of those mugs for me. So
gotta love your moms. Gotta love your moms.
No, I think it was my Chase buddy Connor who brought that up on Twitter, and people just could not get enough of that. And you got to roll with it. Like I'm one to keep like a very wholesome presence online, so like I think that's the funny part is like how I would react to that, and like whatever.
Who's your Hodo Daddy?
It's a thing.
Wow. It's a thing. All right, so here's what we'll do. So we're going into our final segments. Cameron, you're welcome to stick around and chime in and laugh about the.
I gotta call my girlfriend after this.
Oh, gotta call the girlfriend.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, hey, we appreciate the time, and we will upload the audio podcast this weekend. But man, thanks for coming on. It was a lot of fun. Good stuff. Good stuff.
I really appreciate all you guys. Hey, Brady, shoot me a line. I want to catch up.
Yeah, I will, man. I will.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. This is awesome.
Cool. Yep. See you, Cameron. Have a great night.
See you, Cameron.
Awesome. Good job, man.
Okay. So we have got first off #WeatherFools. Apparently Brady added one last.
I don't
minute.
need to if we can't fit it in. But
MJ, are you able to get that in, or what do you think?
Where is it?
It was in the he put it in the private chat.
Oh, I missed that. Oh, let me see.
Oh, we're all right. It was just a tweet. It was a tweet from Reed, I think. Here, hold on. It was about remember when he was telling us about his being on the do not rent list?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I see it.
I saw that.
That's awesome.
Do you want that one? Yeah.
So what order are we going in then, MJ?
I can just go last.
We'll put that one at the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna go Greg, Brady, because you're coming in
Hang
on
on,
that one.
Hang on a second. Hang on a second.
Sorry.
Hang on a second.
Okay. All right.
I'm writing it down.
I'm not sure what I'm seeing here.
It's just text. I don't think it was
it's
a video
just text. Oh, okay.
Yeah, just text. Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
So you might not even have to show it, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
you could.
probably
I could just read it.
Just say it. Yeah.
I could just read it. Yeah.
Okay,
And,
so then I got 2 from Greg and 4 from Phil. Then.
Whoa.
In that
And
order.
is Brady leading in for Weather Fools?
Yes. So Brady, you'll introduce. So don't forget to unmute yourself during the video, so you can segue out of the video, the Weather Fools video. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're going Greg, me, and then you finish. You can see them all on episode 202, show notes at stormfrontfreaks.com. And then out of that, MJ will play the WXAI video. I got to let me pull that up. So Greg, you'll introduce that. So this is, again, just playing around with AI. Excuse me. Playing around with AI and weather, and you can talk about AI, say whatever you want about AI. But here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go around the horn, and I'm going to ask each of you, if you were in the Twister sequel, what kind of a character would you want to play? So I want you to tell me a little bit about the character you would want to be. So my goal is we'll go into AI. I'm going to do have AI come up with a movie synopsis of this Twister sequel and then I'll type in each of these characters and all that kind of stuff, and then we'll see what AI comes up with.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
I'm just looking for what are we calling that segment?
WXAI, so Weather Artificial
yeah,
Intelligence.
okay, yeah.
WXAI.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so I got to share my screen though here too.
Is that ChatGPT, Phil?
Yeah.
Nice. I still need to get that. I don't know why I haven't gotten it yet.
So share my screen. Boop, boop, boop. ChatGPT share. Okay, so I've got that, and no Freak Fan Box. So we'll play that little AI movie thing, and then I'll close us out. That's all she wrote.
Sounds good.
Anybody?
I'll tell my
questions?
mom to start
Everybody
writing emails if we want.
So just a reminder, MJ is going to play Drive Under the Moon video, and then he'll play out of that the Weather Fools video. Segue
Correct.
Brady. Okay.
Correct. Are you
All right.
set?
I think we're good. Everybody
Okay,
good?
I'm gonna bug out. And I'm gonna quit my video while I do it too, in case try not to freeze this time. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
We'll see what happens, everybody. All right, coming up shortly.
Almost out of beer. My second
it.
one.
Greg is locked in right now.
How's your zero
Locked
doing,
in.
Maz?
Hi, I'm Brett Adair, meteorologist and storm chaser, as well as owner of Live Storms Media. You are listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast.
Let's take a drive under the moon. Let's take a drive under the somber sky. Let's take a drive under the moon.
Welcome back to the Stormfront Freak podcast. Who am I? I'm Brady. What is this segment? This is Weather Fools. For those that are a little forgetful or just, haven't been a part of the show, or he feels kind of shaking his head because he knows what I'm going to say, we, as the freaks, are going out on the dark web. We're going out on the internet, maybe ChatGPT. Who knows? We're looking for, photos, videos. It could be TikToks for those, the kids out there that are on that fancy TikTok nowadays. We are looking for someone or something that did something not so smart, and it deals with the weather. Greg, I understand you have a couple weather fools this week. Who are your weather fools?
I mean, this first one, Brady, it's a really quick one. It's just a few seconds. But this is a guy pulling like a big fifth wheel kind of trailer. Looks like it's in the mountains, going way too fast for road conditions, and he destroys his truck and his trailer. And the message here, real simple: slow down, guys. Drive to the road conditions. Right?
Greg, how many times in snowy conditions have you spun out?
I don't think I've ever.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
I mean, we know how to drive in these conditions up here in Canada.
5 miles an hour.
But
5 times. Yeah.
Honestly, though, it's surprising to have a video like this late in the winter. Usually, you see this back in November.
That's true.
That first snowfall and that kind of thing. So that was a quick one, but I just thought, drive to the road conditions. Now, this one's really fun. This is a hill in Portland, Oregon.
No,
they've got this incredible ice storm, and I wish you guys could hear the audio here because the guy who's shooting this has no empathy at all. He is just giggling at the people as they're trying to
look at that person.
Oh, he hit the back of his head on that one when he slipped.
And
these cars have no control.
No control. And this poor guy who's parked on the road, he just keeps getting nailed over and over and over again.
Why would you? That house was for sale like at a deep discount when he bought it in the summer, right? Because you knew in the winter it was.
Look at this woman.
In the next little clip, as it goes past the house again, Phil, you'll see there's like a whole community of people.
Whoa!
On the front porch watching the whole scene.
Sure.
This is.
That person literally does like a ring around the rosy, just like trying to stand up. Oh my gosh.
And listen, gang, if you search Portland ice storm, there are about 1,000 of these kind of videos floating around out there. So this isn't the only one for sure. So that's my 2, Brady.
Wow. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead. Phil.
So this one I call 4. And it's a guy that takes his golf clubs out on a frozen ice lake, or the pond, but the pond's not that deep. And he takes the swing of his club to hit the ball, and then he cracks the ice and he falls in.
He didn't even
Wow. And the funny part is he falls on his ass to crack the ice, and then it's like a split second later he falls through.
And I just love that he didn't even hit the ball.
All right, next one I got is from Luna Light, Christine, who's actually watching tonight. This one is our good old turn around, don't ground. And of course, we just got here's a flooded road, and everybody stopped. Look at the police have like a whole line of cars, but this car is like, screw it, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna go, and they just plow through. Water's up to their headlights. The funny thing is, I think they made it through. Nothing happened. They didn't stall, at least at this point. But
that car's for sale, right?
Yeah. Get your Carfax.
Look at all the cars behind too, and the cops are like blocking it. And that guy just said, "You know what? Screw it. I'm going. I know better than all these people."
And if you watch at the end of this video, I think the cop on this side is actually filming him.
Yeah, no, I think it's a storm. I think it might be a storm. I don't know. Is it a chaser or is it a cop?
It's somebody with flashing lights on.
Yeah,
they've got their phone out and they're recording. Let's see, is it a cop?
It could be a cop. I don't know.
It looks like a.
I don't know.
Yeah, it might be a chaser.
That's funny if it was a cop, though. That'd be hilarious. All right, the next one I call is oofta. It's a twister. That's my horrible Belgian accent.
Oh my god!
But this is from Belgium, and there's a guy just filming a twister right across the street. Debris flying all over the place, and they're just like, "Oh, look at that twister!" You like that?
I think that's a Frozen accent, right? One of the like Dutch people from Frozen.
I just got a new weather fool.
Dutch.
I just got a new weather fool. Phil, say that weather fool again.
It's like, dude, look at that twister. That's oofda. Yeah. All right, last one I got. I'm calling it Frogger. This is a guy in Chicago without a T-shirt walking across the lake right in front of the Chicago skyline, walking
What an
across the
idiot.
ice pancakes. But yeah, he's just walking across these ice pancakes and nothing but a pair of shorts and a stocking cap.
What an
He's
idiot.
got gloves on, Phil. He's
Oh,
got
sorry.
gloves on.
Sorry. He's probably got shoes too. I think he's got shoes. So
I don't know, dude. He seems like one of those barefoot guys, though. They're just like, oh, yeah, you always walk around bare feet. It's really good for your feet. That seems like this kind of guy. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's what I got.
Wow. Well, Phil and Greg, those are pretty great. I do have one weatherful before we wrap it up. So Reed Timmer, who went with us to Mount Washington, while we were there in Mount Washington, he told us a story about how he's on the do not rent list at Hertz. And he tweeted, "It's so funny when Hertz employees try to rent me a car and I tell them I am on the do not rent list. The loss damage waiver is such a ripoff. I'll ride my Dominator bike to the target area." Now, I would die to be at Hertz when Reed Timmer walks up and he's just like, "Yeah, I'm probably going to destroy this car." So, just letting you guys know. But I thought that was pretty funny.
Good weather fool.
I know. Anyway, well, we're going to have all of those weather fools. Go to stormfrontfreaks.com. Look for show 202 in the show notes section. We're going to have all these links and more.
Well, this is a fairly new segment for us. Listen, AI is new right across the board, right? AI is now everywhere. You can write a book with AI. You can let AI tweet for you. Well, we thought, hey, listen, they got this new movie coming out, this Twisters 2, and how cool would it be if we could write our own movie script, right, Phil? We thought, hey, let's get AI to help us do it. And you've come up with a system, I think, so that we can use AI to create this movie script.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call it a system. It's just kind of how AI kind of works. We've used this in the past. We've created some kind of weather Mad Libs and then had AI come up with some images of the Mad Libs that we created. Well, so as Greg talked about, everybody knows the Twister sequel. It's called Twisters, right, is actually coming out this summer in July. I forget the date that it's actually scheduled to come out, but it's in July. But I thought, wouldn't this be neat? Let's all come up with our own characters, and we'll have AI come up with a synopsis of what that movie would be like. Does that sound okay?
Sure.
So Greg, I'll start with you. What would you like to be? What would your character like to be in this Twister sequel? What kind of a character? Bad guy, good guy? What are you doing?
I'm a non-gender specific, hodograph expert.
Okay, so I'm going to put movie sequel with Greg Johnson as a non-gender specific hodograph expert.
So you wouldn't be Hodo Daddy. It'd be like Hodo.
No, I'd be like Hodo person.
Hodo person.
All right, Mads, I'm going to jump to you. What kind of character would you like to play in the Twister sequel?
Maybe a cross between Dusty and Rabbit.
Ooh.
So I don't know exactly.
How would you describe those characters as graduate students?
Uptight but lazy, and maybe drinking something.
Uptight, lazy, and drinks. Okay. Okay, Brady, I'm going to go to you. What kind of character would you like to be?
Well, MJ, I don't know if you could show my screen, but I want to be basically the guy who grabs a tree and gets sucked up by the tornado. I want to be the guy that I want to be this guy. This is actually Reed's picture. I want to be this guy that, is out, gets really close to the storm, probably too close. He's the guy that, they have to sacrifice so you can have he's the guy that dies in the tornado. And then everyone's like, you know what? We got to do it for this guy.
The sacrificial unnamed dude.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna be, just to kind of even it out a little bit. Then I'm gonna play the character that's the bad corporate stuck up,
Dr. Evil,
money hungry,
like news producer or something, like one of the producers.
No, I'm gonna be corporate, stuck up, money hungry. Stuck up weather producer.
Yeah.
There we go. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay. So here's what I got. I've got create a synopsis. I'm gonna go ahead and actually share my screen now at this point. Okay. So here's what I got. Share a synopsis of the Twister movie sequel. Greg Johnson is a non-gender specific photograph expert. Mark Masmassaro, graduate student who's uptight, lazy, and drinks. Brady Harris is the guy that grabs a tree, gets sucked up by a tornado, and Phil's the bad corporate, stuck up, money hungry weather producer. So here we go. Let's see what they come up with. Here's what it's called. The title is Twister Vortex Unleashed. How do you like the title?
This is crazy.
Good, good.
All right, so let's read this. In Twister Vortex Unleashed, the storm-chasing world is thrust into chaos once again as a new breed of tornadoes, more unpredictable and destructive than ever, threatens to wreak havoc across the heartland of America. However, this time, the story follows Greg Johnson, a brilliant non-gender specific photograph expert, and Mark Masmassaro, an unconventional graduate student with a penchant for laziness, drinking, and a sharp wit.
Nice.
As a seasoned photograph expert, Greg has dedicated their life to understanding the intricate patterns of tornadoes, but this latest wave of storms challenges even their expertise. Greg, you're challenged. So Greg partners with Maz, why I don't know, who's seemingly a laid-back graduate student with a knack for understanding atmospheric anomalies. So that's why. Despite Maz's casual demeanor, they hold a hidden talent for grasping the complexities of tornado behavior.
Wow.
Yes.
The team's dynamics take an unexpected turn when Brady Harris, an adventurous but impulsive thrill seeker, becomes the first casualty of the new tornado outbreak. Brady attempts a daring maneuver, grabbing onto a tree in the path of an oncoming tornado, only to be violently sucked up into the vortex. His disappearance leaves the team shaken and determined to uncover the mysteries behind these unprecedented storms. Enter Phil Johnson, a bad corporate and stuck-up, money-hungry weather producer who sees the chaos as a golden opportunity for profit. Unbeknownst to the storm-chasing team, Phil manipulates the data and broadcasts misleading information to the public, jeopardizing lives for the sake of sensationalism and ratings.
What a dick!
So as the team battles, thanks, Mass. As the team battles not only the deadly tornadoes, but also the deceptive tactics of Phil Johnson, they must navigate personal conflicts, unearth the secrets behind the storm's newfound intensity, and ultimately confront the corporate greed threatening the lives of those in the storm's path. Twister Vortex Unleashed is a thrilling sequel, combines the elements of suspense, humor, and heart-pounding action as the characters race against time to unravel the mysteries of the storms and expose the true nature of the forces at play. There's a $1 billion movie right there.
And script. Yeah. We should sell that to Hollywood right now.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
I would watch that movie. I would watch that movie.
I knew ChatGPT was powerful, but that is incredible. I mean, you gave it three sentences and it came up with the movie script that was exactly
so who plays everybody?
Yeah, it's just play yourself. Ryan Reynolds is playing me. Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. We do. Who was Maz? Did you come up with an actor from Maz?
Yeah, who did I say was Maz? Who was the character I had as Maz? I feel like Maz is like a Anthony Hopkins type character, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Oh. So that was good. That was good. So yeah, we'll enact that on our chase week.
My character, they just have a stuntman do. They wouldn't even pay him. They would just have a stuntman do.
You get to come up with a good death scene though, Brady. So that ought to be interesting. So hey, on that note, I think that just about does it for this episode of Stormfront Freaks Live. Do us a favor, if you like the show, hit that follow or subscribe button, and also share it. Share it on your social media posts. Let your friends know that it was a great show or you liked it. It's just one of the best ways that we get found and people can find us. So that's how you can help us out. Let's find out, freaks, how people can find and follow you as well. Greg, I'll start with you. Don't forget to mention your book.
Yeah, so it's Tornado Greg on social media. My website is cameraeasy.ca, where I do my teaching, photography teaching. And I have a book coming out in March, or just about 4 weeks from now, and it's called Camera Canada.
Very good. All right, Brady, how about you?
Awesome.
You can find me on most social media platforms at Brady Harris WX.
And Mass.
Post office walls everywhere to you. I can't believe you got that, Brady. I'm impressed.
Maz, I'm telling you right now, you are the funniest guy I know. I'm just telling you that right now.
Like Chat GPT knew that he had wit, right?
100%.
That was impressive.
Right.
That was impressive.
Yeah.
You're muted, Mass. So if you're trying to tell people where they can find you, it's not going to work very well.
Did you mute
I'm going to the
me?
post office
I
tomorrow.
didn't touch it. I'll blame MJ. I don't know.
How did you not? How did you hear that then? If I was muted?
No, that part we heard, and then all of a sudden you were gone.
Oh,
So
okay. Gotcha.
can people find you actually, or
Maybe not. I'm on X at Moneystorm, the number 4 and the letter U at Moneystorm for you.
That's very good. You can find me touring with Bob Marley. I think is his name. Is that right, Bob Marley?
I think so. Yes.
Is that, okay.
I'm pretty sure that's his name.
But you can find me on typically on Twitter at Stormfront Freak is where I do most of my social media stuff. But you can find us on most all social media platforms at Stormfront Freaks with the S at the end. So special thanks tonight to Cameron Nixon. Had a lot of fun with Cameron.
Hodo Daddy.
Hodo Daddy. Yep. That's where you can find Brady too. Just search Hodograph. You'll find Brady there. So our next episode, we're bringing another first-timer to you all. TV meteorologist and sci-fi fan Katie Nicolau will be helping us celebrate Women in Science Day. So we'll be doing it all live Thursday, February 15th at a special time. So February 15th, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. She is a morning meteorologist, so we got to kind of shift our timeline up a little bit for her. It'll be on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And then, of course, you can find the audio podcast will be available that weekend. So for Greg, Brady, Maz, we got MJ, we got Garrett and Angela in the green room. I'm going to signal the all clear. We'll catch you next time. Good night.
Peace. So you're working on a book too, aren't you?
Thank you for tuning in to the Stormfront Freaks podcast. You can watch our bi-weekly show live on youtube.com/StormfrontFreaks and download the audio version on your favorite podcast player. For links to our Patreon team of exclusive benefits, show notes, past shows, new videos, merchandise, and more, visit our website at stormfrontfreaks.com. While you're there, check out our interactive chaser radar from our friends at zoomradar.com. If you'd like to contact us with questions or make comments about the show, shoot us an email to questions@stormfrontfreaks.com or follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Search for Stormfront Freaks. We'd love to hear from you. Join us next time and tell a friend about the Stormfront Freaks podcast.
Glad you covered that, Greg, because I
That's
missed it.
awesome.
So that's good.
Did you do that live?
Yeah.
He killed it.
Nice.
I love it.
That's good. That's good timing. I'm impressed you timed that as well as you did, because it's the first one that hits, and so you got to kind of know that that's the next screen coming up. That was good.
Oh, that's awesome.
No, Brady, I was going to tell you, Chat GPT is ghostwriting my book coming up.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no kidding.
Dude, I bet that it's happening. I can almost guarantee you that is actually happening.
Well, so hey, I'll tell you this.
Yeah,
I
I'm
work
sure
I
it
work
is.
at Miami University, and we just had someone come in and talk about the fact that students, right, are using AI and Chat GPT to write their and so somehow they're figuring out that's being done, and it sounds like there's a way you can kind of see the writing and go, that doesn't necessarily sound like how the student would write, or that they're somehow they're figuring things out.
The students are probably just typing in, write me an essay about, World War II. And then it's producing the same essay as everyone else is getting. They're not actually like customizing the prompts a little bit, because there are ways you can kind of like go in and, tell it, hey, try and make this undistinguishable.
The key is the prompts. And we deal with this with our schools, with K-12 schools. And the key is the prompts, right? And how you prompt it. And you can actually, they've had products to try to recognize when things are done with AI, but they really produce a lot of false positives. They're not very good. There aren't very many good ones. What they'll have people do is like instructors will have students do writing, but in class, right? And produce that writing. And then they'll be able to know kind of what the student's voice is and compare that to what the AI is generating. That's one method. And the other thing, though, on the other side of that, students are getting good at, you can feed ChatGPT or any of the AIs, you can feed them samples of your writing and then say, produce this in the voice of this passage. Yes, you can do that.
Wow. and you can probably tell it, and please include half a dozen spelling and grammar errors.
Yep.
I've never tried that, but I bet you could.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a book like Greg's and just have it print out a bunch of different images and photos.
Pictures.
And, yeah.
Hey, MJ, can you share my screen?
I can.
So I told you guys I wrote an outline that I'm going to send to Peter Sullivan, right?
Okay. Do you want me to go off live, Greg?
Are you live right now?
Yeah.
Oh, and I don't want this live. Yeah, no, I don't want it live.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. We'll end this. Bye, everybody.
See you, everybody. Thanks for watching.